Whatever opened for you around August 12th has been quiet since. Thursday morning, it finds words. That's when Mercury reaches 20 degrees of Leo, the exact spot the solar eclipse landed on, and it's the first planet to come back to it. So, the full week, and the room in your chart Thursday walks into. The week ahead, every Sunday. Real sky, computed rather than guessed, mapped onto your own chart. Week of August 16th. Sunday's quiet. The moon sits in Libra and nothing goes exact. Monday stacks 3, Mars squares. Neptune, Mercury trines Saturn, Venus sextiles Jupiter, and the moon crosses into Scorpio in the evening. Tuesday's still. Wednesday night, the first quarter moon in Scorpio. Thursday, the moon moves to Sagittarius before dawn, and Mercury reaches the eclipse degree a few hours later. Friday's still too. Saturday, the moon enters Capricorn in the late afternoon, and late that night, the sun leaves Leo for Virgo. Thursday first. An eclipse doesn't finish when it's over. It leaves a mark at one exact degree of the zodiac, and that degree stays sensitive for months afterward. You hear from it again when a planet crosses that spot. 20 degrees and 2 minutes of Leo is where the August 12th eclipse landed, and Mercury arrives there around 8 Thursday morning Eastern. First planet back since. Mercury is the messenger, so this one comes through as information. A conversation you've been circling. A message that finally lands. A decision that gets language for itself. Whatever the eclipse started for you has been running for 8 days without a name, and Thursday tends to hand it one. That was the date I promised on air, and it holds. The chain runs on from there. Jupiter reaches the same degree of Leo on October 3rd. If you have anything in Leo, and that includes your sun, moon, or rising, Thursday is addressed to you personally. Back to Monday. 3 exact aspects in a single day, and they pull in 2 directions. Mercury and Leo trines Saturn and Aries around 11 in the morning. Mind meets structure. Plans you make Monday tend to hold their shape. Put the decision that has to stick there. Venus in Libra sextiles Jupiter in Leo. Generosity and good taste in the same handshake. It's a natural day for the easy yes. The invitation, the introduction, the thing you'd normally sit on for a week. The friction sits underneath all that. Mars in Cancer squares Neptune in Aries before dawn. Mars is effort, Neptune blurs edges, and a square between them is effort aimed at something you can't see clearly yet. Check the facts before you push. If the story you're acting on came to you secondhand, Monday's a good day to verify it first. Placements in Leo, Aries, Libra, or Cancer put you closer to all of this than most. Wednesday night, the moon reaches its first quarter in Scorpio at 10:46 Eastern. A quarter moon is the sun and the moon standing 90 degrees apart, a square, and every lunar month builds one in. The new moon starts things cheaply. Nothing costs anything at the beginning. The first quarter is where whatever started asks for something back. Time, money, a decision you were comfortable deferring. It's the month's built-in checkpoint, and this one falls in Scorpio, which has no patience for casual. Curiosity was fine a week ago. Scorpio wants to know whether you're in. Look at where it sits in the week, too. Wednesday night is the night before Mercury touches the eclipse degree, so the month's checkpoint and the eclipse's first activation land back to back. If your sun, moon, or rising is in Scorpio or Leo, Wednesday night is where the ask arrives loudest. Saturday closes the season the eclipse opened. At 18 minutes past 10 that night, Eastern, the sun leaves Leo and enters Virgo. The August 12th eclipse was a Leo eclipse, and the sun has been walking that sign ever since it happened. Saturday, it walks out. Leo season is over, and Virgo picks up in a completely different register, sorting, refining, making the thing workable instead of announcing it. Behind all of it, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto stay retrograde, the same 3 this series has tracked since its 2nd episode. Nothing stations, nothing turns around. If you've got Virgo placements or a Virgo rising, Saturday night is when the season turns toward you. Tap, like if you want the next activation date called this far ahead. It's how this one keeps getting made. The moon's own week. It opens Sunday in Libra, even-tempered and sociable, a soft landing. Monday evening it drops into Scorpio, and the mood goes private and pointed, which is the tone it holds straight through Wednesday's quarter moon. Thursday before dawn, it lifts into Sagittarius, so the day Mercury hits the eclipse degree comes with a wide-open sky mood, blunt, funny, ready to say the thing out loud. It stays there through Friday. Saturday late afternoon, it settles into Capricorn, and the weekend turns practical, just as the sun changes signs. Now the 12. Use your rising sign if you know it, because the houses are counted from there, and the houses are the whole point this week. If you don't know your rising, your sun sign works fine. Chapters are below if you'd rather jump straight to yours, though the week reads better whole. Aries, romance and creative work share a room in your chart. The 5th house. That room holds 20 degrees of Leo, where the August 12th eclipse landed, and Thursday morning around 8 Eastern, Mercury arrives at that exact degree. First planet back there since. Jupiter follows on October 3rd, so what opens Thursday has a long runway in front of it. Whatever you started around the 12th tends to start producing information now, a reply, a name, a date, a sentence that tells you where you stand. Monday helps. Mercury trines Saturn in your own sign around 11 in the morning, so the idea and your follow-through line up for a day. It rarely arrives as a headline. One reply is plenty this week. Taurus, someone is going to want an answer out of you before the week is out. The first quarter moon lands in Scorpio at 10:46 Eastern on Wednesday night in your 7th house, the 1-to-1 room. That is where the asking comes from. Thursday is when you can give it. Around 8 in the morning Eastern, Mercury reaches 20 degrees of Leo, the August 12th eclipse degree, and for you that falls in the 4th house, home and family. Jupiter crosses the same spot on October 3rd, so the home thread has a second date on it already. What shifted under your roof around the 12th tends to come back up now as a real conversation. A number, a deadline, a decision someone's been sitting on. Whatever gets settled this week gets settled at home. Gemini, your ruling planet does the week's work, and it does it Thursday. Around 8 in the morning Eastern, Mercury steps onto 20 degrees of Leo, the exact degree the August 12th eclipse fell on. For you, that's the 3rd house, your voice, your messages, the short local run of your week. Something you said, sent, or pitched around the 12th tends to come back with information attached. Monday is worth watching too. Mercury trines Saturn in your 11th house of friends and networks late morning, which makes a good window for the ask you've been rehearsing. Say it plainly, and it travels. And when Jupiter comes back to that same degree on October 3rd, whatever you open Thursday gets its second act. Cancer, Monday runs foggy before it runs clear. Mars in your sign squares Neptune at the top of your chart before dawn, around 4 Eastern. An effort you spend early in the week may not land where you aimed it. Thursday is the sharper day. Around 8 in the morning Eastern, Mercury meets 20 degrees of Leo, the August 12th eclipse degree in your 2nd house, what you earn and what you value. Jupiter lands on the same degree October 3rd, so the money thread stays open well past this week. Rates, invoices, a number someone owes you, a number you've been rounding down. By Thursday, that number sounds reasonable said out loud, and you have been circling it long enough. Leo, Jupiter is sitting in your sign at 11 degrees, walking toward a spot you already know. 20 degrees of Leo, where the August 12th eclipse landed. It arrives there, October 3rd. Mercury gets there first, Thursday around 8 in the morning Eastern, and nothing has touched that degree since the 12th. That's your first house, you, your name, the way you start things. Language shows up for the thing you couldn't explain yet. The decision, the change of direction, the version of yourself you've been test driving in private. Then Saturday night at 10:18 Eastern, the sun leaves your sign for Virgo, your second house of income and what you value, and Leo season closes. Say it out loud while the light is still yours. Virgo, your year turns over Saturday night. At 10:18 Eastern, the sun leaves Leo for your sign. Your birthday season starts, and the light goes back into your first house, you and how you begin. The days before that belong to the 12th house. Rest, privacy, the things that happen out of sight. 20 degrees of Leo sits there, and Mercury passes over that exact eclipse degree Thursday around 8 Eastern. Whatever began there began without an audience. Thursday, it becomes something you can put words to, even if the only person who hears them is you. Jupiter reaches that degree on October 3rd, and what it touches rarely stays private. Better to walk into your season already knowing what you decided. Libra, you're the one being asked this week, and the asking is friendly. Venus, your ruling planet, spends the whole week in your sign, sitting in your first house, the place for you and how you start things. Overnight into Monday, it makes an easy sextile to Jupiter in your 11th house of friends and networks, so an introduction made then tends to go further than you planned. The moon is in your sign too, Sunday through Monday evening. Then Thursday morning, Mercury touches down on 20 degrees of Leo, the exact degree of the August 12th eclipse in that same 11th house. Whatever circle or group plan opened around the eclipse gets its first words Thursday. Jupiter is on that degree October 3rd. Say yes to the room. Scorpio, what you've been building in public tends to take a step forward on Thursday. That morning, Mercury lines up with 20 degrees of Leo, the degree the August 12th eclipse fell on. In your chart, that degree sits in the 10th house, career and public role. A title, an offer, a decision that puts you on the record. Wednesday night comes first. The first quarter moon lands in your own sign at 10:46 Eastern. A first quarter is the friction point of the lunar cycle, where something started meets its first real pushback. The resistance shows up Wednesday. The movement follows on Thursday. Jupiter sits on that same degree October 3rd. Take Wednesday's discomfort as information about what you want. Sagittarius, Thursday arrives with your name on it twice. The moon enters your sign around 4:30 in the morning Eastern, and by 8, Mercury is sitting on 20 degrees of Leo, the point where the August 12th eclipse landed. For you, that's the 9th house, travel, study, publishing, the far edge of the map. Whatever widened last week gets its instructions on Thursday. Monday sets it up. Mercury trines Saturn in your 5th house of creative work and play around 11 in the morning. A trine between those two turns a loose idea into a plan with dates in it. Jupiter catches up to it on October 3rd. If you've been meaning to apply, enroll, or book something, this is a natural window. Capricorn, if a shared account, a split, or an unfinished agreement has been sitting there, Thursday tends to give it language. Mercury settles onto 20 degrees of Leo that morning, the eclipse degree from August 12th. For you, that falls in the 8th house, shared money, debts, other people's resources. Jupiter is there too, on October 3rd. Monday runs rougher. Mars in your 7th house of partnership squares Neptune in your 4th, home and family, and a square between those two blurs who agreed to what? Repeat the terms back on Monday. Saturn, your ruling planet, is retrograde in that same home house all week, which favors reworking what already exists. Thursday is the day it stops being vague. Aquarius, the move comes from the other side of the table this week. Thursday morning, Mercury crosses 20 degrees of Leo, the exact spot of the August 12th eclipse. That's your 7th house, straight across from your sign. Partnership, one-to-one, the person you keep negotiating with. This kind of week often brings the conversation to you rather than the other way round. Wednesday night, the first quarter moon in Scorpio hits the top of your chart, your 10th house of career and public role, roughly 9 hours ahead of Mercury. A work decision and a partnership decision can land almost together. Jupiter covers that same degree on October 3rd. Deal with Wednesday on its own terms, and Thursday's conversation reads differently. Pisces, the ordinary parts of your day are where this week does its work. Mercury moves across 20 degrees of Leo on Thursday morning, where the August 12th eclipse fell. That's your 6th house. Daily work, routine, the shape of a normal day. Something about how you spend your hours finally has a name on Thursday, and naming it is most of the repair. Then Saturday night, the sun leaves Leo for Virgo, your opposite sign, and moves into your 7th house of partnership. The focus slides off your schedule and onto the person you share it with. Jupiter hits that same Leo degree on October 3rd. Sort the small thing now. Next week, the sky comes back around to your sign. Thursday's crossing happens at 1 degree in one house of your chart, and that house is the subject line. Career, home, money, a particular person. I look mine up in Mystical Maniac, and the free link below opens yours against this exact sky. Subscribe, and next Sunday's already waiting. A partial lunar eclipse lands Friday the 28th, around 5 degrees of Pisces. I'll have it mapped before it gets here.